It's time for Recipe of the Day. For an extra special Christmas Eve treat, you have got to try French hot chocolate. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat that I am not at all sure if this recipe is authentic, traditional, anything like that or not. And here's what happened. I came across a recent article in Food and Wine magazine that said that in Paris, in restaurants, hot chocolate is often made with real chocolate milk and with custard stirred into it. Well, actually, the recipe says that it's crème pâtissière, but that is the French phrase for custard. And I got really excited. Like, I love custard. You know, I don't have a huge sweet tooth, but it is one of those things that I really love. And so I went searching for a recipe for this kind of French hot chocolate that was mentioned in this article, and I could not find one. I searched all over the place. I cannot find a single recipe with the crème pâtissière or custard in it. Now, I am not doubting Food and Wine magazine, absolutely not. Instead, I just decided I had to make one myself. And so I've come up with this French hot chocolate recipe that, yes, has milk. It has real bittersweet chocolate, and then you stir custard into it just before serving, and it is rich and thick. It is like drinking liquid chocolate. It's almost like pudding, but drinkable. It's not super sweet, and I don't know, it's just, it's an experience, and you have to try it, and I'm going to tell you how to make it. So you have to make the custard first, and I did have to come up with a custard recipe so that I could do this recipe. So I shared that with you on this podcast back on December 10th of 2024. So you can go and look at that, but I will tell you how to make the custard really quickly here now. And I will also just say that if you don't want to make the custard, you can skip it and just substitute an equal amount of heavy cream with a bit of sugar in it. But to make the custard, you're going to whisk together in a saucepan a 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, a couple pinches of salt, and then once that's mixed, you're adding in 3 egg yolks and you're whisking that until it's nice and smooth, and then stir in a cup of whole milk and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And then I like to use an actual vanilla bean in here because you get those little flecks of vanilla if you're going to be serving this on a dessert or something. But for this one, because it's going to be blended into the hot chocolate, you're not going to see it. You can just use a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then you cook that over medium heat while whisking it constantly until it starts to bubble and thicken up. It's going to take 4 or 5 minutes. Then take it off the heat and just keep stirring for another minute. You're hoping to cook that cornstarch flavor out of there. Then pour it through a sieve into a bowl, and that will remove any clumps of cooked egg that might have happened. And then you can use it right away in your hot chocolate, or you could chill it in the fridge. When it is warm, it's more of like a saucy kind of texture, and when it's chilled, it sets up like a pudding. So if you want this as like a drizzly sauce, a warm sauce over a chocolate cake or something, amazing. You can do it warm, or you can do it cold, and then it's kind of like scoopable onto something. Either one can be stirred into the hot chocolate, but of course, if it's cold, it's going to cool things down a little bit. Okay, now you have your custard, and it is time to make the hot chocolate. So in a medium saucepan, you're stirring together 1.5 cups of whole milk. You could use low-fat milk here, but I don't recommend it. You're going to just miss the point. It's not going to have the richness. Evaporated milk would do. It would bring that richness, but it's not going to be as good as the whole milk. You're also adding 2 teaspoons of powdered sugar, a pinch of espresso powder. You could instead use a pinch of instant coffee or a teaspoon of actual liquid coffee. That's going to be fine too. You are going to warm the milk, sugar, and espresso powder over medium heat while stirring often until it's very warm but not yet bubbling. Then take it off the heat, and you're adding 8 ounces of bittersweet chocolate that you've chopped up. That's a 70% cocoa content that you want there. You could go higher if you wanted it even like more bitter and more intensely chocolatey. Okay, so you're going to stir the chocolate in the hot milk for a moment, and then whether it is melted or not, return it to low heat and just cook while keeping stirring until it's very, very warm, but you don't want it to bubble. Then you take it off the heat and you stir in 1/2 cup of that custard, and then pour it into 2 mugs, or even you could do 4 like small little mugs because it is so rich, and a little dollop of whipped cream on top. Actually, chantilly cream is very traditional, I have read, in the French hot chocolate world, and that is just lightly sweetened whipped cream with a little bit of vanilla in it. And that is your rich, amazing hot chocolate with the custard stirred into it. I cannot wait for you to give this a try. I will put the link to the recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is December 24th of 2024. And I will just say that if you make this recipe and love it, or if you make any of the recipes from either of my sites, cookthestory.com or thecookful.com, and you enjoy them, please head back over there and leave a comment and a 5-star rating. The comments are always great for the feedback. We all learn from each other, find out what you did, what you tried, what you liked. And then the 5-star ratings really helps me grow my business. It brings more people to my sites and to this podcast because they see those ratings when they're searching on Google. So that really helps me out. I would really appreciate it if you would do that for any recipes from my websites that you've already enjoyed. Thank you so much. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.